Greetings, my beautiful legends. How are you doing today? I pray that this message finds you in good standings. I hope it finds you in good health and wealth, and just finds you in a good place in your life. Today, I want to have a conversation, and this is a conversation for parents. As a parent that of myself who've raised two children, I've come to realize how important our job as parents are, and how we can be instrumental in how emotionally, mental, and psychologically healthy our children grow up. I want to talk from my heart, and I want to start off with story time. I grew up in a family where my mother and father were both present in our home until my father passed away when I was about 15. My mother worked continually. Both of my parents were just workaholics. They worked all the time to make sure that we had a good life, a decent life. But one of the things I have to say, in growing up now and being a parent, I realized my parents were emotionally not there. They just weren't there. And I realized a lot of us come from homes where parents did the best they could, but they didn't understand the need for emotional support. So by the time my mother was 23, I was child number five. We had a good home. Both my parents worked hard to provide for us, to make sure our needs were met. But psychologically, I realized I left deficiently. I was very deficient in how to be a wife, how to be a mother, how to raise my children. So I became a workaholic and a deficient mother in a lot of ways. But being a part of the kingdom and being a part of what the Most High had for me, I knew there was more to life. I have been in my church, I was in church my entire life. There was never a time I was out of church until the last 3 years. Being in church, I always felt like there was more to the Father. There was more to the Most High. There was more. I just knew my whole life, even growing up in Sunday school, I just knew there was more. But being honest, I didn't know how to reach it. I wasn't taught. I went to a denominational church where, the pastor taught about, well, fire and brimstone, how if you did this, you're going to hell, you do that. But nobody never really talked about what it took to be healthy emotionally, how to not go to hell. They talk constantly about all the things we did wrong. And what I realized, I didn't like the screaming and yelling of the pastor all the time. To me, it made me feel like God was a tyrant. That's kind of the way I felt. And even though I stayed all these years, I, I I knew it wasn't normal, but there was nothing else, because it seemed as though that's what they did in church. That's how they taught church. That's how they got across to the members. But what I realized as I left church and I studied the ministry of the character of Jesus, he didn't yell, he taught. He didn't preach, he taught. And that's what I realized I was needing. And because I didn't grow up in a family where teaching was knowing the Bible and knowing the scriptures and knowing how to conduct yourself in a Christ-like manner or in a Christian manner, I wasn't taught that. But I did. I was always a person that wanted to be righteous. I just kind of didn't know how. So I did things in my life not realizing the consequences of my actions. So I just went on to continue until I reached a certain point after I became a mother and after I became a wife. I looked at my children and I wanted my children to be an asset to society. So I went on a journey where I wanted to learn how to really create that environment. One of the things growing up, my favorite television show, if you know, was back then. I'm aging myself. Was Leave It to Beaver. I wanted that kind of life for myself. but not knowing how to create it, I failed miserably. So in that failure, my children suffered the brunt of what I didn't know. And not marrying a person like the character in the TV series, I've, it just didn't work out. And so when he decided he wanted to get a divorce, I was left to raise two children by myself by the age of 22 years old. Both my kids were very young. So, but being a workaholic, and that was all I knew, that's what I started to doing, not realizing I was neglecting my children emotionally. So they went on, we all went on a, tangent of emotional hurt and pain and all of that. But when I really came to the place where the Most High started opening my eyes, I realized the mistakes that I made and the experiences I had that jeopardizing the emotional health of my children. So what I did is I started reaching out to other people that I felt like had mastered that. I started watching, there were several female evangelists that came on that had would talked about their experiences in life and how they grew up. So I dovetailed onto their stories and I realized I had my own story. So what I started doing was once I realized I really started praying and seeking the Most High for how I could be a better mother. So I started reading books on emotional healing, on codependency, on different kinds of things that affected my life. I didn't even know what some of those words meant, but I still went on the journey. I watched more and more, and women of faith, those are the kind of people that have talked about their journey and how it affected their family. So, not leaving home with the tools that I needed, I searched it out. And when I came to the realization that I could fix this, oh my gosh, that's what I did. And the first thing I started doing was being honest with my children, telling them of my journey, my experiences in life, telling them what I had experienced, what I had gone through in my life, not to gain their empathy or their sympathy, but to let them know there is a better way. You don't have to make the mistakes that I made in life. You don't have to make the choices that I made in life. I want you to do better. So I constantly encouraged him. I mean, and it was a journey, and it still is a journey, and I'm still walking that path. But I wanted to share with my kids what my life was like, not to gain their empathy, but to show them, to be an example, to be a better person for them. And I gave them the opportunity to ask the hard questions in my life. And I was honest with them. I made no excuses. I did not defend my behavior at all. Because what I learned in that is by defending yourself, by making excuses for what you did and what they are accusing you of, and what the questions they are asking. What you do is you dismiss their questions. You dismiss how what you did affected them. You dismiss it. So I never once, whenever they accused me of something, or whenever they brought out something that hurt them or made them feel bad, the only thing I would say is, you are right. I did that. And for that, for how it affected you, I am so sorry. And I'm going to ask you to forgive me. So time and time again, I asked my children for forgiveness. And I still, to the day, when they bring up certain things, I just says, you're right, I was there. Because when a child is reminding you of something you did, they're not reminding you at the age they are. They are reminding you at the age it affected them. So sometimes when they're talking about things, they're 3, they're 5, they're 8, they're 9, they're 12. They are talking from that vantage point. So the best thing you can do for them is to be honest and to tell them the truth. Please, because that is the way your family will heal. They need to know your journey. The one thing I love about visiting the African continent, when you talk to one of the people, is when you ask them their name and you talk to them about their story, they know their parents' history. That's why they're, in a lot of ways, they are emotionally more healthy. They're more forgiving than we are as Americans. Because I realize when you're dealing with people, I watch videos. I love true stories, but I watch videos of parents and how they relate to their children and the language that they use. I mean, abusive and yelling and screaming at their kids. I kind of grew up with some of the yelling and screaming, and I became a yelling, screaming parent until I realized that's not the legacy I want to leave with my children. I want my children to be more emotionally healthy. And I thank the Most High. He opened my eyes when he did, because I realized now my children can ask me anything, and I am totally 100% honest with them. Yes, it was hard. It was a little on the painful side, because we as parents want to be that hero in the eyes of our children. But how you become a hero is by being honest, by opening their eyes to your truth. What happened to you? What caused you to make some of the decisions in life? This is the time where you get to explain to them why you made the choices that you made. This is why. This is the time. So I had to learn how to buckle down and be honest. And it has made a world of difference. I got two amazing children. And you know how I know they're amazing? Because they remind me that they're amazing by their action, by their choices. They are doing wonderful things. And now, with some of the things that I did, they are better parents than I was. And I am so grateful that the Most High, all I could do is explain to them, yes, I was part of your brokenness. I was part of you making some of the choices you've made already in your life. But now I want to be part of your healing. So I made a decision that I was going to be a part of their healing. And now I see how they are even healing their children. Let me tell you something. Your children are going to have to make mistakes. They are going to have to go through their own experiences because of the call on their life. There are things they have to experience you have never experienced, and some things you did experience. But they are going to have to go through it, because Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the plans that I have for you, plans of good and not of evil, to bring you to an end with a hope and a future. Your children have a future and they have a hope, but let their hope be in the journey that they're going to take, the experience they are going to have. But let them constantly remind them, who was your saving grace? Who was the one that brought you out? Who was the one that shared with you wisdom and knowledge and spiritual understanding, to know that in the mistakes and in the journey and in the experiences, you were able to come out smelling like pure gold. You will be able to be used by the Most High, no matter what the mistakes you made. It's not making the mistakes, it's what you experience and what you learn from them. And yes, I can say my journey has been long and it has been tumultuous, but I am at a place right now where I have searched out one thing, and it's called peace. And the peace that I have in my heart for what I have accomplished in my family is just astronomical. My children are amazing. I have had the most wonderful experience in the last few months of talking to one of my grandsons who has found his way with the Most High. And he calls me, and we're on the phone sometimes 4 hours, and he's so excited about his experience, all because my legacy I left with my children has now trickled down to my grandchildren. I got 5 of the most amazing grandchildren and 2 of the most amazing great grandchildren. And I see what they're doing, all because of what I spoke into the lives of my children. The honesty, the pain that I had to relive to make it easier for their life, so that they can replicate the goodness of the Most High, that they will know that they can call on Him at any time and that He will be there. I left that legacy because I knew the power that it gave me. And I'm going to encourage you this day to leave that legacy for your children. There is a pastor that I listen to. His name is Pastor Jerry Flowers. I'm just going to give him a praise as an honor, because that's the church that my grandson is going to. He is 29 years old, and his walk, he is a happy young man. He talks about his struggles with me, with grandma. He talks about what he's gone through, what his experience was, the relationship he has with his mother. He shares those things with me. And all I can do was encourage him to keep his journey on. It may be long and it may be a struggle, but the one thing about if you stay on the path that the Most High has provided for you, that he opens up to you, that you can rebuild and build the best life ever. You can find that peace. And the name of the video with Pastor Jerry Flowers is It Runs in the Family. I may try to download. There's a lot of things about YouTube and doing this that I don't really understand. So I'm giving you this information so that you can go and please watch that video. It is so heartwarming. I've already watched it once. I've shared it with a few other people because I know their struggles, but I'm sharing it with you, my community, my legendary community, that you yourself can begin your legendary journey. So I just want to share this with you. I want to share my story with you because it's not been an easy journey, but it's been a powerful breakup of the dysfunction in my family, the heartache and the pain. It has uncovered the fallow ground that now I can plant seeds of righteousness, seeds of peace, joy, the fruit of the spirit. I have planted those and I'm planting them every day. And I hope and I'm planting them in your life as well. So I want you to I want to encourage you to build your legacy by being honest with your family and with your children and with your grandchildren. The hope of the future lies with you. Be precious. Be forbearing. Share your heart. Share your story. Create a legacy. Bring all your grandchildren over to your house and just cook up a good dinner and just sit down and talk. I just want to talk with you. I can get all the Bible verses there are. I know them. I was once an ordained minister. I know them. But I want to talk from the spirit that the Most High has imparted into me. The breath of his spirit is in me. And I want to share that same breath with you. The truth about who you are as a person, the love he has for you. Do you know the only reason why he exists is because of you, because of the love that he has for you? He loves you so much and he wants nothing but good things for your life. And he sent me as a voice, as a messenger to share with you his heart. The one thing I want to always do is keep his heartbeat in me. And I'm hoping that's the same for you. So I'm going to encourage you to share your life with your children. Share your life with those that cross your pathway, that you can build the family, that you can rebuild the community. So much love to you, much hope for you, and my prayer is that the time you spend with your family can be fruitful and that you can multiply legacies. Thank you so much. All praises. Thank you.